slides are in Slovenian, then I can switch to English slides because I was translating them yesterday back into Slovenian. Yeah. Okay, so the topic, I was thinking what to say so that I would be. Probably everybody heard a lot about AI in the recent days, weeks, months, years, couple of years, right? So, so I didn't want to repeat the usual topics. So I will focus on one topic which is very hot, very interesting, I guess also relevant for what you do. It's science, right? So, but a new kind of science which is appearing basically this year, right? So it's not 1 year ago around yet. It's AI-generated science, right? So science where machines are deriving new knowledge which, let's say, humans didn't invent yet, right? But machines are inventing, right? And as I said, so this was not 1 year ago possible. So in theory it was possible, but basically nobody was doing this yet. But now seems like it's getting extremely relevant, not just for practical purposes, but also from conceptual and ethical and many other aspects of the type of process, right? Okay, so for non-Slovenian speakers, so this is the appearance of automated science and autonomous AI scientists and future of scientific innovation. So this is the title. Okay, just a few initial slides about AI, right? So in the old times, you know, when cars appeared, so like 120 years ago, right? So some people said, well, a car is just a better horse. And in a way, for AI these days, people say same thing. This is just another better search engine, right? Or another Photoshop, so tool for dealing with images, or it's just another spell checker, better spell checker, or better calculator and things like this, right? Not true, right? So, not with search engine, not with Photoshop, not with spell checkers, we weren't able to do what we can do with these tools now. So it is a new quality. So this is the message of this slide. Right? Be careful about the pictures. So every picture is carefully generated for the purpose of the slides, always. Okay, so there is new quality, right? And what does it mean, new quality? Even back then, like 30 years plus ago, right, when internet appeared, right? So there was time before internet and there was time after internet. And when internet appeared, I still remember, so some people, well, I can say older, but more like passive in their minds, I would say, or protective of what they were doing back then. They said, this is some new thing which will go away and so on. I remember, so this was actually my professor, unfortunately, right? And only after 7-8 years, he kind of recognized that maybe internet is still maybe something good, right? And internet basically, needed like 5 to 10 years actually to get really properly integrated in a society, business processes, companies, and everything else. I mean, we were early adopters, yes, but most of the people not. So now we are also in a similar situation, but much faster, much faster, right? So this slide is showing so that, well, like maybe 3 years ago, so everybody's using probably ChatGPT and these tools, right? Just to remind you when ChatGPT appeared. So it was happen to know of this ChatGPT and this technology, they had it only, let's say in summer 22, this famous GPT-4, which made a really big difference, right? Which was released for the audience, for general public in 23, March 23, right? So this was created in August, roughly 22, right? So that you understand, things are really happening fast, right? So we can, in a way, we can say, and these are not too big words, I think, that we were before in some kind of old normal, and we are getting into some kind of new normal, which is unclear yet how it will look like, right? And we are now somewhere here, right? So somewhere, let's say, just the end of the beginning, I would say. It's not, we are not even in this, let's say, steady uprising state and far from any kind of new stable state, right? And here I will show you on the right side 10 indicators. 10 indicators which characterize AI in the recent time, which are all exponential, right? So you all know what is exponential function, something which, today is, I don't know, 10, tomorrow it's 20, the day after tomorrow, or maybe 2 months, 40, 80, 160, so this is exponential function. So it's really kind of going up extremely fast, right? Now 10 indicators, right? Which 10 indicators? There are many more actually, but let's say this 10. So capabilities of the systems, right? They go exponentially up. So what we had like 2-3 years ago, right? So this goes up. Or even if we compare for the last 20 years, these capabilities of the systems go up exponentially. Then the quality of results, right? So this second graph, this would be lectured by itself, if I would show you just these diagrams, or these graphs, because each graph tells the full story, right? So the time which we people spend for a particular task, there are tasks which we do in a few seconds, in a few minutes, in a few hours, few days, weeks, or maybe some tasks like, I don't know, bachelor's degree, for instance, would take maybe a few months, and maybe PhD, a few years, right? So for each task we have some estimate, how much time does it take. Now, these systems are capable, so they used to be capable doing tasks for which we spend like seconds or minutes, right? But now, basically, they can do tasks for which we spend years, right? And they can do these tasks in short time, like minutes or hours, the worst case, right? So this is another exponential view, right? And it's not stopping, right? It's not stopping. So all these indicators are going from the past, and they have projections in the future as well. Then computing power. So this is one of the key enablers, right? Computing power, compare computers which we had like 10 years ago or 20 years ago compared to what I have now in the pocket, right? So this is roughly compared to best supercomputer which we had in the world in like mid-90s, right? Mid-90s, so this is something what I have. But back then this was room of this size, with many people serving it, millions of dollars, right? Just to maintain it, not to buy it, and so on, right? So now we have it just in the pocket. And this computing power is not stopping either, right? For the next couple of years, we see it will grow exponentially, right? So exponential computing power roughly is increasing every year by factor 4. Right? So if things will go in this pace, right? So this means that in 10 years, likely it will stop, right? But in 10 years, this means million times faster than today. Right? This is not exaggeration, by the way. Right?
It's something like Moore's law or something.
Yeah, Moore's law. Yeah. So I would like to show you now this slide a little bit more. You see, Moore's law was something what we used to have, right? This is from 60s on, right? So this is this curve. And then this is roughly 2009,
it's so popular.
NVIDIA is the company which actually pushed this, and that's why this is the biggest, I think, biggest company.
The biggest company,
Which is amazing, right? And they were struggling. They were several times on the edge of collapse and so on. Now they have the richest company, just because they are, and they have monopoly. They're doing things so well that it's really hard to replicate. And what happened? So this Moore's law was this 1.5 times per year machines got faster, right? So this is roughly until 2010, and then this NVIDIA GPUs came in, then now we have 4 times per year, right? Which is amazing. The next one is number of users, right? So let's say some services used, like on the left side, Spotify, Netflix, and so on. They spent like a year, 2 years to get million users, right? Million users is kind of decent, right? And now million users for ChatGPT a few years ago it was 1 week. And now after these 2-3 years of ChatGPT and these tools, they estimate around 500 million. So it's a really short time. Then the number of incidents which come out of this technology. And so that one I know well because we are measuring this for OECD. So incidents go up as well, right? Exponentially. Right? Luckily, these incidents, at least in the civil sector, they don't cause that. Mostly these are small incidents. People get offended, and so on. But there are also positive incidents sometimes. One such positive incident was one person got heart attack, right? And he was in his Tesla or some car, right? And he pressed this autonomous driving, and the car brought him while he got up, apparently lost consciousness. The car brought him to the hospital, so he was safe. So otherwise he would have died. Then price of usage, right? Price of how much we pay for these capabilities goes exponentially down. Right? So a good trend. The amount of data which we use also goes exponentially up, although we pretty much now spend all the digital data almost which we have in the world. Not all of it, but all public data, it's already used to train the systems. Right? Also goes exponentially up. The size of the models, you're economists as well, you would know, right? So in old times, we had this linear regression, we still have it, right? So, and then we did experiments with 5 variables or 10 variables, right? Or 100 was already too many often, right? For different reasons. Now we talk about 100 billion, 500 billion parameters, right? So this is the expressive power of these machines, right? Then the amount of learning, training, right, processing, if you want, which we spend to derive these models, this goes also exponentially up. And the last one, which actually I have slide, the next one, is the amount of investment which goes into AI. Right? This goes also exponentially up. So this is a very fresh graph. On the right side, this is 2007, 9, 19, 21, 25, right? Quarter one.
That's mainly because of US, right? And it's a bit of a hype there.
So this is the other graph. So this is by states, right? So this is US, China, UK, Canada, Israel, Germany, and so on. So US is far ahead of everybody.
The Chinese then actually reduce these costs by a factor of, I don't know.
So for Chinese it's hard to estimate the investments because, so I said we are doing this with, working with OECD on this, and it's really hard to get data on Chinese investments. What's possible to get, we see that they invest a lot, but these are not traditional public commercial sources which we buy. And China likely, it's unclear, is it state funding versus private on. It's hard to say, but it seems like it's a huge amount of money goes also in China. So this Chinese number might not be correct, but this is in all indicators you would get roughly these proportions, right? So between US, China, and others, right? But Europe jointly, so UK, France, Spain, Germany, plus other countries, right? Jointly, we are not even close to what US is doing. Right? Europe is announcing pretty decent investment, but you know, this EU plus countries, right? European Commission plus countries, but still, if we sum up all the money, we are only approaching what's US and China. Okay.
It's at $470 billion, right?
Yeah, okay. Billions, yeah. So you can read well, yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah, I can see, but
Yeah.
exactly.
And this is AI, right? And these other curves are other fields like mobility, climate, crypto, social. So everything else is a little bit less. But it's also true, right, that AI blends into other indicators. So it's sometimes hard to tell apart AI from non-AI, right? Because AI is very horizontal technology and goes into many other areas. Okay, so there's a little bit of text, but basically it's some thoughts on this exponential revolution. Right? So just to repeat, right? So it seems like we are this AI is bringing us from this old normal into new normal. Just happening so fast that many people didn't spot it properly, right? Where this AI somehow came into our lives. To be honest, right? So we are using AI for after year 2000. Actually, we just don't know, right? So every time when you touch Google or when you open a web page, it's always AI behind. Some small piece of AI, some kind of narrow AI, right? But AI we are using for 20, 25 years already, right? I mean, just to remind you, what happens when you open the web page, right? Okay, you go to the browser, type URL, and you expect that this page will come up, and it comes up, usually. But what happens after you after you put request for the web page? So basically, this information goes out in the world. So it's an event, right? It's an event that somebody's opening a web page, right? And that this web page has, I don't know, 3 by 5 centimeters space for an ad. And in this, like 20, 30, 50 milliseconds happens an auction worldwide for this space, right? Somebody wins the auction. So typically these companies have AI models behind, they try to get the auction, and whoever gets it then delivers this ad to you, right? So this is an example of AI which is happening everywhere. So the other side of this internet, they see you as just an event, right? An event which they can use for something. Right? It's pretty sophisticated technology, right? So we have one company here in Ljubljana, at least one, several, Samantha. So this new normal which we are coming to, we can see already to some degree, right? We can see this job market. There are still minor effects on the job market, not the big ones, because things are just happening too fast. So mostly companies or business sector didn't react yet properly on this. But just yesterday I was doing a presentation on these numbers on the job market. So projections for the job market, well, basically they're very complete. Nobody really knows. So some kind of summary conclusion out of this many pieces of research which we collected is that nobody really knows when and how much this will influence. Everybody's sure that, I mean, we see for some types of jobs already, that, let's say, translators, students which go to translation business, translation studies this year, for sure they won't get the job. Right? So we had discussion already at the Filozofska fakulteta, right, the Faculty of Arts. We advise them maybe tell students that they will certainly they won't have a job, right? Why? Because, for instance, now the new iPhone, right? Not sure if you have it, or any iPhone from recent years. If you buy the new AirPods, so these are these small devices which you put in the ear, right? Small headphones. So they have live translation feature, right? Turn on live translation, so you can speak in Spanish. Live while you talk, I listen to this simultaneous translation as in the old times when I said it. I hear it perfectly in English or some like 5-10 languages so far, but this will be extended to any other, right? So this is for free as part of the phone, right? So now imagine this very capable people which are doing simultaneous translations in, I don't know, the European Commission. They're really capable of what they can do with cognitive ability. Typically they can do this for an hour and then they're too tired, right? So now you can do this for free, probably even better. So as an example, plus all other translations, right? So this is one type of job, right? Then people like me, like we are, okay, I'm a computer scientist, AI person, right, from my beginning, right? So our core skill is programming, right? So programming, we had to change in last 2 years, totally how we do it. So whoever didn't change, actually I have at the institute only one person who doesn't want to change, right? Because he invested all of his life in these perfect skills. He was back then best student ever, and he got all the awards and really capable, and he doesn't want to give up, you know. But now kids, you know, which have no skills in programming, they can do programming better now. See, this is what happened. This happened just in 2 years. So the whole sector changed, but we are early adopters. But this goes into other areas as well. So AI didn't go into physical space yet. So robots we don't see too many. Here and there maybe some robots, but maybe factories. But AI didn't get into physical space yet. But once this will happen, then this will be even bigger, way more noticeable revolution in a way. What this could be, for instance, first thing which we will spot will be autonomous cars, right? So autonomous cars are ready already. They work, I mean, of course, there are mistakes and so on, but basically it's more like the question for regulators when they will decide to let autonomous cars on the streets. And once this will happen, I don't know, all the taxi drivers will be obsolete, right? So this will happen probably in some period of time, short period of time. So job market certainly is changing, right? It's changing not too fast yet, but it may happen fast at some point. Then human rights, geopolitics, and many other things. We see changes in this. I don't know, geopolitics is totally, call this poisoned, but influenced by AI, especially the geopolitical struggle between US and China, right? Who will do that, right? So, human rights as well, right? Because machines, AI is putting us in a new situation. How to treat, just 2 days ago I had a lecture, so these days we have this congress in Zagreb, we have Congress of European Association for Music Composers, right? And so I gave a lecture there and had a panel, right? And yeah, then, although they know, I mean, of course, copyright in its old form, yes, still exists, but I mean, now, you see, in front of me there were people like you, but they were composers, and Now, if I go to this Udio or one of the softwares, which you pay, either you do this for free or maybe you pay $2 or something, nothing, right? You can create music pieces which are, by their own opinion, proper in all possible sense, right? Structure, music, melody, text, everything. And so everybody can do this in 1 minute, you know, what they would. Of course, I mean, there's still space for this high creativity, artistic expression, and so on, but for this low-level music, right, simple music, likely there won't be space anymore. And so on. Yeah, it was very interesting discussion with them, actually. I was proposing, right, for them, better to optimize the future, not optimize the past. This is what they do, right? So they're trying to fight the copyright and said, well, the ghost is out of the bottle. I mean, because they cannot, you know, the services which generate music, yes, true, they stole all the music which exists and they trained the model, they trained the composer out of this music, right? And now, yeah, there's musicians or there's composers, they're fighting this on the legal side. They just want to go away. I mean, maybe it will be arranged in one or the other way, but not much. Yeah, so at this moment, and this is one of the big discussions which we had, for instance, at OECD and any other international body, how the new normal will look like. Nobody knows really, right? So you can see only isolated impacts of technology on some vital aspects, but we don't see the full picture yet, right? Because we have many interleaving factors, right? So what if, okay, you get autonomous cars, people get, taxi drivers, professional drivers, a lot of jobs, right? So do they have knowledge to do something else? And what is this something else, right? In the meantime, you can say, okay, maybe they can go farming and do some manual work. No, because in the meantime, there will be also robots, agriculture robots, right, which are extremely progressive topic, right? Farmers are extremely happy, you know. The robots which don't complain, work day and night, all is fine, right? So how this new normal will look like, unclear, right? But of course, when can we expect new normal, right? Is this when these indicators which I showed here will start stopping? So every exponential function, right, in our physical or mental world eventually needs to stop. It cannot be that it will grow endlessly, right? And also these 10 indicators will all eventually have to stop. There might be new indicators which will start growing, but okay, let's not talk about it. So once there will be time, we don't know exactly yet, at least for the next few years, they won't stop, but maybe in 10 years, I don't know. They will stop, and then this will be the time of stabilization, right? And we'll be getting into this new normal. Why? Simply because resources will run out, right? So we have only that much energy, that much computing power will have to stop at some point. We have only that much data and so on. So it's just a question of resources which will run out. Right? Okay, this is like, sometimes I'm saying, yeah, this is like, getting from one aggregate state to another one, right? It's like water, right? When we optimize water, right? So this means we taking energy out of the water, right? So what happens, right? It becomes ice, right? It starts crystallizing. Yeah. And so from water to ice, there's this change of aggregate state, right? And this is what's happening now. Roughly, we are at the beginning of this crystallization of the, let's say, society in a way because of AI. But still at the beginning, right? Okay, this was more like a little bit of introduction. Now let's go to this AI science. Autonomous AI science, right? So, I mentioned at the beginning, right? So, science, the way how we were doing science for last decades, it's typical scientific process, you know. You have an idea, you form this idea and you shape it into some kind of hypothesis, and then you, depends on which area of science you are, you try to find some kind of model in some form. Model can be written form, can be a formula, can be linear regression, can be something else, some kind of abstraction of that idea which kind of matches reality, right? So this is, and then we, of course, we verify, and then we, well, if we are good and successful, then this idea gets, or this innovation gets deployed into society and is being used, right? So this is the typical scientific process which is going on forever, right? So this stages don't change actually. Now the issue is that all these stages were done by humans so far, right? But now in the last maybe 10, 20 years, right, we see that some phases, right, like modeling, verification, some of the things somehow got a little bit automated, right? But not everything, right? Now this year it's first time that actually all the phases end to end can be software. Right? So from hypothesis generation, from idea to hypothesis generation, everything, right? Down to the I will show it, right? Okay, here is one slide. Basically, it's 4 levels, right? This automated science, the taxonomy of scientific autonomy. This is the title, right? We have like four levels, right? So the first level is this AI as computing assistant, right? These are just tools which help us doing science, right? We have many of them, right? As said for the last 10 years. This is one level, right? The second one is this partial autonomy, right? Where parts of this scientific process are already automatic. We don't even interfere. They just happen, right? This means like literature review, right? This is already something that probably most of you are doing. I mean, in old times, you know, we had to go to the library and then checking books and proceedings and whatever, right? And reading and making notes, somehow summary, abstraction, long process, right? Okay, so we learned a little bit on the way, but it was far from possible to capture everything. Just in small libraries which we have, small libraries which we have here in Ljubljana, they have too many books. You know, in your lifetime you can read, I don't know, 1,000 or 2,000 books, and that's it, right? You cannot do much more, right? While machines already Google, but now this LLM, they have inside themselves all the books which were ever produced and digitized, which means millions. And you can operate with the content or interact with the content coming from millions of books, right? Or articles, papers, scientific papers, right? For instance, just in the area of AI, per day we have roughly 1,000 new papers, scientific papers, right? Many are interesting, it's just not capacity to read them and to understand, to internalize them and so on, right? With machines you can get much closer, right? So this is this level 2, right? So partial autonomy, right? Where some of the scientific process are get autonomous, right? So now we are somewhere here in level 2, and we are getting into level 3. Now level 3 is so AI as completely autonomous scientific partner, if you want. Something which happens from end to end, which we will see in the next slide, right? And there's a level, but on the level 3, basically machines are still the way how these systems work these days. They mimic human style of doing science, right? So hypothesis, verification, and paper at the end, and so on. So we do some, basically they replicate the The level 4 likely will be something where even this will be challenged, and where methodologies will be created totally new, something which we might not know today, right? So we are not there yet, but the term for this is AI as a generative architect. So it means that the paradigms will be changed as well. Currently, the paradigm itself is not changed. So this will be like 4 levels of this AI in science. Now, let's see. So this is one system which we built during the summer, and it's one of several which exist in the world at the moment, which we call like this AI scientist or AI inventor, right? And so I won't go too much into details, but this actually works. I will show you that this is the top level architecture. So the first module here is the module to generate ideas and hypotheses. Right? So machine, you say to the machine just, okay, I would like to have a new idea, a new piece of knowledge which didn't exist before in roughly that area. This can be area of computer science or something, right? And machine starts generating ideas and so on, and then ranks ideas which are better, words which are already done, maybe some which are new, some which are feasible, some which are not feasible. We also provide constraints that let's say, okay, we have only that much, that's from the machine, so we have that much data, and so we provide some physical constraints which you have. And based on these constraints, you get tens of ideas easily, and then out of these tens of ideas, we select, we filter out the ones which are really the promising ones, right? The ones which are worth investing. And there's some weighting and so on, right? There's no big magic at the end, you know, you just, and then once we identify the idea, right, which is the most promising, then we prepare the data which is suitable to confirm this hypothesis, the idea, right? The machine programs everything by itself, math programming, right? So everything is programmed by itself. Then it's evaluation, and then this is more like a cycle. And then at the end of the cycle, you get scientific paper, right? So at the end, you get a scientific paper. So I won't go too much in each box by itself. It's interesting what is happening, but at the end, okay, so that's how we generate ideas and so on. But let's keep this. At the end, you get papers like this, right? 1 second, third. For each paper, we spend like 2 to 4 hours. Machine works. 2 to 4 hours. It costs in the range of €20, maybe. Just computing power you need to pay. And that's it. And maybe your question would be how good these results are. So at the moment, they are maybe on the level of maybe bachelor's degree, something like this, up to possibly PhD level, master's, just something like that. So this is what you can generate for, on the press of a button, you go to sleep, and in the morning you get all the research done. And plus the paper, everything, this was untouched, right? From the beginning to this phase, there was no human involvement. So this is the whole cycle which I showed today, right? And so this is something which is not science fiction. And maybe your question would be, how much time did we invest to create this AI scientist, right? Effectively, it was done in 2 weeks, but full, like, double job. So one person, roughly 1 month of work. Okay. So this is possible to do. This person now goes to master's and PhD, and there are a few more, right? So our colleague, he's also working on a similar system. He's at Stanford. but he's doing this for biochemistry. So he's reporting, biochemistry is a little bit more complicated because you need people experimenting and so on, right? But machine tells, well, do this and this experiments, collects the data, and goes into the cycle, right? So 10 times faster than human scientists, right? At least, right? And he claims that they can generate PhD level results out of this, right? So currently, so this is always questionable, you know, which idea, which know-how is for which level, but we are not yet competitive, I would say, with these results to generate breakthroughs, scientific breakthroughs, but it may happen. It may happen soon. You know, with this investment of 1-2 months, right, we came far. Okay, now just last couple of slides, couple of thoughts on this automated science. Right? And here I can switch to English actually slides because this is, so last week I was in Notre Dame, this is Indiana, Notre Dame University, this big Catholic university, with a conference on AI ethics, and this is my talk. So I just translated these slides into Slovenian in previous. Okay, so this is one comment which I can skip here. So if you check literature of this year, right, you will get plenty of papers, not plenty, not too many, but some number of papers which are discussing, either trying to build this AI scientist or discussing what does it mean for science, right? Now, it is one of the core, or maybe most, I would say, noble parts of human activity to invent new knowledge, to use it in science itself, right? Certainly it has a place in our lives. If this gets automated, how should we treat this? How should we position in the whole thing, right? These are papers, right? You need a research hypothesis. Ask AI, right? Press on the button, you get hypothesis. Actually, I can show you later. I can show you how this works. Yeah. This is not far away. This is not mystical, right? This actually works. It's just, you know, softwares which you use like apps. Technically, there's no big difference. It's just that the topic is different. So first, the question, right? Why autonomous AI scientists, right? System which generates new knowledge. Why it's possible to know, right? This is one good question. So there are a couple of three premises. I kind of summarize this in these three very conceptual points. Right? So one, the nature of new knowledge which we derive, which we generate. Right? The new knowledge is always derived from the previous knowledge. Right? So if you take an average or any kind of scientific paper which comes with some innovation, right, comes with some kind of result. But if you analyze the content, to derive this new result, you use previous knowledge, right? So the building blocks, it's like the Lego bricks, right? So you have some Lego bricks, previous ones, and you combine them in some way to derive the new Lego brick if you want, which is maybe a little bit more complicated or has its own function. So this is one observation, right? Now, in relationship to systems like ChatGPT, others, Gemini, and so on, they have all these building blocks already inside, right? So when you're using these chatbots, right, most advanced ones, they have all this knowledge already inside. And now you can ask them, okay, I would like to use this and this and this building block and try to derive a new building block, right? So this is one observation. So with LLMs, certainly we can do this, right? With Google, this was much harder. Second one. Now I'm not sure if you understand the term scale-free. Maybe you understand the term fractals, right? Or maybe even better, intuitive, self-similar. Let me explain this. compare it with, I don't know, a big mountain, right? There's no big difference, right, in the patterns. Right? So this is scale 3. You see, the nature in general is organized, or if you look, I don't know, atom and the solar system or the universe, right? The structure is very similar. You see, we have also one central thing and some things which go around, right? So this is self-similar. Human knowledge has the same property, that it's self-similar, right? So independent how you go across the levels, right, of knowledge, although we have different names for different pieces of knowledge, but if you look at knowledge in a structured way, it has this property of being self-similar. So what does it mean? That each new invention, even the ones which we don't know, right, they will have similar properties as the previous ones, right? So this is one very fundamental observation, right? But the third one kind of connected. Well, nature is friendly, right? If you look, I'm sure this is in humanity similar, right? But certainly in analytical or natural sciences, we actually operate with a very small number of building blocks, right? Or fundamental principles, which are just combined in different ways, right? I mean, already mathematics, you see, I mean, everything comes from these couple of basic operators, which are then combined in different ways, but at the end, everything boils down to plus and multiplication, right? Minus is just another type of plus, right? Division is just another type of multiplication. That's it, right? That's an example. But the same is true for other sciences as well, right? So I don't want to go here too deep into this, but here just wanted to say that nature of human knowledge is way more structured and very friendly, much more than it looks like on the outside. Right? And these autonomous AI scientists are exploiting this. Otherwise, it wouldn't be possible. You know, if knowledge would be scattered randomly and new piece of knowledge would be totally disconnected from everything else, then we wouldn't be able to do this. No? We as humans and we together with the machines. Right? Okay, this is one observation why AI scientists are possible at all. Right? So, how the future human scientist might look like? Especially you are young, right? So, and most likely this will be something like this for your future, right? Independent if you're a scientist or not, even if you will stay in a company, it's likely this is something what you would do in the future, right? So, basically, from this old paradigm when we have this manual lab work, linear data analysis, slow, this iterative hypothesis testing, and so on, scientist is coming more to the role of the strategist, question asker, right? So interrogator of the systems which are possibly driven by AI. Second role could be collaboration between machine and which is actually already happening, and AI, and of course the validator and possibly ethical guardian, if we can say so, right? So, and this in a way is already happening. Whoever is using, and probably you are using, I don't know, ChatGPT and these tools, you already are part of this cycle, right? Just the moment compare, I don't know, a few years ago, what kind of questions you were asking, you were putting into queries into the machine, the Google, right? You put a couple of keywords and then you got a list of pages and then you were browsing further on. The type of questions which you're asking today, it's significantly different, right? And you can only imagine that in the next years, the level or the complexity of questions which you will be able to ask will be even higher, right? This is your future, which you cannot change most likely. If you will want to compete with your peers in the future with tools like Google, or by going to the library and manually searching for whatever information, you won't succeed. But this doesn't mean that you won't take a book in your hand and read it and probably try to understand, right? Just in terms of complexity which you will be able to manage in a very short time already increased in your lifetime, and it will further increase. Maybe last two slides, right? So this new normal in science, before we were talking about old normal and the new normal, right? For which we said we don't know yet how it will look like. The same is for science, right? At the moment, right, we are in this period of total divergence. If you look how the science, well, I see this from natural sciences standpoint, but likely it seems like that probably in humanities might be similar. We are in total divergence. It looks like total chaos because all paradigms, old way of doing things is obviously broken. Broken in terms of paradigms, the way how we do these things, and also we see the science as a concept, right? It's based on trust. Right? People which trust each other, which share knowledge. In science, we don't hide things, right? We are not like companies which hide and so on. We just publish and hope that somebody will spot our good idea, or we hope that actually the idea was good first, and then that somebody will spot it and use it further on, right? So everything is based on this trust, and also one part of the trust is if you send, I don't know, your idea to a journal or a conference, that this will be properly evaluated and so on. So this is the way the science has been knowing, right? So this system is, let's say, in good part broken now. Why? For sure, I can say this for computer science, AI, these areas, because it's huge. Science became a competition, and it's this huge intrusion of mostly Chinese students, right? Not that it's fault of the students, but the system, right? The incentives which Chinese have to participate is so incentive Chinese. If you want to proceed through Chinese system, right, you need to have publications on international venues, right, the conference in Germany. And of course, so now we experience like 3-4 times more paper submissions as like before COVID. So it's unmanageable. And basically, people cannot even review, the conferences cannot even review what is being sent. Plus, on top of this, you have solutions, right? More direct, small mafias, right? Which are organized, where you pay and you get paper accepted, right? So the whole system is broken, right? At the moment. You don't see this because you are probably not that close, and it's unclear how this will resolve. So, and this happened really in this post-COVID time, so it means in the last 2-3 years. So that's why I'm saying that this short term we are in total divergence and some kind of chaos, and also this, you can call this creative explosion, but most of these papers are not, So it's a case. Actually, this will have to stabilize, otherwise things won't proceed. Unclear how, maybe now going away from this. Chinese and conferences and so on, right? But in terms of human AI or human machine collaboration, so this, let's say, for you, most likely new normal will be to use these kind of tools to come to either new knowledge, inventions, to verify, to evaluate, and so on, right? And some kind of convergence that eventually will have to come. So let's say that these 3 stages for the first time, short term, we know. It's already happening, and for the second and third, we don't know yet how it will look like. This is really the last slide. So, now in the whole process, right? So this is a good question, right? So if machines can do everything, we still have something what let's say we call intuition, or let's put everything under the word intuition for the purpose of this discussion. So AI is, or this AI science, this type of of systems, they operate in this rational reality, right? So they are masters of rational thought, and they are certainly already better than humans in rational thought, right? We cannot compete with machines in this rational reasoning or capturing complexity and so on. Machines are always there. I mean, that's why we're using all these tools. Right? But we need to be aware that machines have only limited sensory input. Right? So this limited sensory input includes mostly text, audio, to some degree, images, movies, and that's it. Maybe some sensors. Right? Okay. That's it. And everything what's not measurable by these 3-4 modalities, it's outside the scope of evolution. Right? Now, we humans, right, we have access to much broader sensory input, but which we cannot measure with, I don't know, sensors. Right? And this is basically where is our advantage. And this is what we call intuition. Actually, I had discussion with many people, neurologists and people which are operating with, let's say, human, not necessarily soul, but maybe even soul, right? But with human mind, yeah, of course, they operate with things which machines are still far away or they are certainly not close to these concepts, right? And so this is the areas where we humans certainly we can move to first, and then we can develop in that direction, right? So while you see, when I was small, right, so this was the time, your time as well, right, when calculators were introduced in the schools, right? So that's a big thing, right? So nobody cares anymore about these calculators, right? So we moved beyond. But back then it was a big issue, you know, how people will get stupid and the mental capacity will go away because this was the value back then that we were able to do this manually, this summing or division or square root, you know, this was a big thing, calculating manually square root of some number, right? We still have to do it. So you see, this was small step, right, for humanity and for humans, right? But now we have really bigger steps, right? My point here is we cannot compete, let's say, calculation, right? That's why we have calculators and many other things. And this is where we have chances. And as the last thought, right? So it's also the question of this, well, free will. Right? It's not a joke, right? So we humans, let's say for everything what we know, we can say that we have some kind of free will. Machines certainly don't have free will. Right? Sometimes when it looks like that they have, it's more like randomized, like more like random. So this gives impression of the free, that it's free, but it's not free, it's just random. So this distinction between free will and mechanical or randomized will, right? So this is also important. So in that respect, I'm generally not concerned, right? For humans, it's very uncertain time. Okay. Yeah, that's it. I just prepared one short video yesterday. I asked short video really means like 2 seconds. So these are the same slides, except for Slovenian. Just like ChatGPT or Google Gemini. I'm using Gemini because it was just three, right? Visualize movie, visual consciousness. And this was what came out. Nice. And I said, the next one, I said, well, can you visualize your internal why I came to this, because so next week the new Gemini 3.0 is coming, and people which have access to it, they're saying that it's really amazing. So I would advise you, I'm not sure what you're using, right, but this Gemini 3.0 certainly will be a big thing, right? And so some people which have access to it, they're really amazed. And so this is one where I got the idea really, right? So from one tweet, where the guy also asked, well, Gemini 3.0 for the next one. I was using 2.5, right? Basically, he was generating a piece of software, Python code, right, which produced this visualization of the consciousness again, right? So this was a little bit different. And see, I mean, this old times means just maybe a year or two ago, this was heavy production for days or weeks, right? It's expensive. Now I spend like half a minute, right? Good. With this, I would end. I mean, I could talk. Thank you.
Any questions?
It's
time for the discussion.
Ste prebrali AI 2027?
Yeah.
Ok, kaj si mislite o tem, a bo superinteligenca
2-3 leta je nenormalno, ampak to, kar bo zdaj naslednji teden ta GROBELNIK, ne, ki boste imeli za 20 evrov, pa za ston, tako rekoč, da ne zagreste nekaj posilo, pač to, tako pa imate vso moč tega. Ta stvar gre lahko zelo deleč, ampak zaenkrat smo štel v tem, jaz mislim, da se do 27. se zagotovo ne bo zgodili, zakaj, zato ker ta zgodba predvideva tudi ta prehod AI-ja v fizičen svet, ki se do takrat zagotovo ne bo zgodilo, ne mogoče, ker ni produkcije, lahko pa, da se zgodi to po 10 letih. To je ena nevarna, druga stvar, ki jo pa se nismo dotikali sploh v tej debati, je pa, mislim, se pogovarjali o AI-ju nasploh, o znanosti in tako naprej. Ampak AI, kot vidite, vpliva zelo na vojne. Praktično te vojne, ki so ukrajinska, no, še prav posebej, brez AI-ja se ne mogla dogajati. Tam so te avtonomni droni, ki se sami odločajo, oziroma človek pošlje, potem se bojo na tiste mašine same odločajo, koga bojo pobijali, koga ne. Zakaj se same odločajo? Zato, ker če se bi moral človek odločati, bi bilo bistveno dražje, torej tiste droni bi morali imeti, ne vem, komunikacijski link, pa vse komplikacij bi bilo, tako pa enostavno se, torej AI se odloča na konc, kdo bo živ, kdo ne bo in tako naprej. In to se razvija bolj in bolj, ne. Torej, v tem vojaškem delu je, ja, prav izzivo, ne, kaj se da. Tega še vse napaja ta tehnologija, ta tehnologija, s katero sem prej filmčke pokazal, ne, koristi tehnologija tam.
Na koncu energije ne bomo dosti pogajali.
Ja, zdaj energijo se veliko vlaga, ja, nekje bo verjetno se, torej...
A to res nekje sem prebral, da samo če thanks napišeš nazaj GPT-ju, da to gre na enormno količino tam energije.
Ja, nekaj gre, no, ampak...
Nekaj tam se greje, pa potem morajo graditi nazaj.
Mislim, ampak...
To je sprocesirati.
To je na nivoju, mislim, to so koščki, ja. Je pa teh veliko koščkov, začel s tem, tele, grem pa poženem tale Gemini, recimo pa naredim, recimo, ne vem, to uporabljate, ne, recimo, naredi pregled literature na temo, AI science, ne. Tako mehen grad, ki se ga nekoč ni dalo narediti, ne. Je pa tale reče deep research, da bom, ne vem, 10 minut počakal, to bo 30 strani reporta, koliko bo šlo za tole, ne.
Je